Thank you. Well, thank you everyone so much for coming out. It's 2:01, so I'm sure that more people will trickle in, but we're going to go ahead and just get started. This is our 8th Chambers for Sustainability Coalition webinar. What the coalition is a group of chambers from around the world that come together to collaborate on and have a platform to share and work on green ideas and initiatives together. We've got some coalition members speaking today. Hopefully there's some others in the audience, and maybe someone else, some of you would like to join later in the day as well. We're gonna go ahead and get started in just a minute. I'm gonna give it a little more time for some more people to come in, but during that time, I would love to show a quick video that explains a little bit more about our mission before we hear from these wonderful speakers. Thomas, could you play that video? Can you make sure your audio is shared?
Sorry, I don't know why that happened. Can you not hear it?
Try pressing play again. No, I still cannot. When you go to share screen, there might be an option to share audio as well.
Okay, let me try that again. Sorry.
It's all good. While we have another second, I'll take a minute to introduce our great team here at the Chambers for Sustainability Coalition. We've got Thomas, who is our research associate, and Hallie, who is our sustainability and legislative research associate as well. If you have any questions about Zoom, if you have anything coming up, then if you get kicked or need to unmute for any reason, please message Hallie in the chat. She's our Zoom technician for this event. And if you have any questions throughout the event, we're going to have a Q&A at the end of the event. So please just direct those questions to me in the chat, and I will relay them to our speakers at the end. Thank you.
Okay, you ready, Jesse? I think it should be good.
All right, go ahead, yes.
Our mission is to engage chambers of commerce around the world to lead on sustainability, on climate action, and on green business practices. So to connect, educate, inspire, and of course we need to act. We will be successful when all businesses go green, and together we can achieve this goal because as chambers of commerce, we are the business leaders in our communities.
What we can do as a collective group is jot down what services and what resources we provide so that we can share that with each other, because I'd certainly like to be able to look and see what you do. And those collaborations are incredibly important.
It's a very attractive opportunity to bring businesses within our network, and I mean our particular network and the network of the coalition, into an international platform.
Chamber of Commerces are in a unique position to bridge between business stakeholders, residents, and policymakers. That said, it's not an easy pathway, as you know, on some of these issues. And so the chambers play a role of being a little bit of the middle person.
Our first job is to pose questions, to lead public discussions around D&I topics, both locally and globally. We need to help encourage and reinforce cultural change.
The coalition has been growing exponentially, developed a monthly webinar series, launched Chamber of the Week recognitions, and so much more. Join us today at usgreenchamber.com to become a part of this international, collaborative, and passionate group of chambers. We invite chambers of commerce of all sizes and backgrounds because we are in this together.
Thank you so much, Thomas. That video is produced by another one of our lovely team members who is not here today, unfortunately, Haley. And with that, let's get started with our speakers. I would love to thank all 4 of our speakers today. Each one of them are very accomplished and have largely contributed to the sustainability sector within their communities through their chambers of commerce. If you'd like to see their full biographies, they've been posted to the Eventbrite for this webinar. Today, we will be hearing speakers from around the US, and I'm happy to introduce and welcome the South Carolina Small Business Chamber, the North Florida Green Chamber of Commerce, the Cape May Chamber of Commerce in New Jersey, and the Bartlett Area Chamber of Commerce in Tennessee. We're kind of Eastern US focused today. Our first speaker today will be Frank Knapp from the South Carolina Small Business Chamber of Commerce. Frank?
Thank you, Jesse. Appreciate that. And hello, Michelle. Thank you very much for the opportunity to present today to all these very distinguished people that you have visiting with you and watching this webinar. So my name is Frank Knapp. I'm president and CEO and co-founder of the South Carolina Small Business Chamber of Commerce. I co-founded it back in 2000. So we've been around for 21 years. And we are primarily an advocacy organization representing the general interests of small businesses. Regarding sustainability and climate, we started back in 2013. We formed something called the South Carolina Businesses Acting on Rising Seas. We wanted to call attention to sea level rise, and back in 2013, it wasn't really a big issue because nobody could see it. Well, we devised some ways that people could see it. That campaign was pretty successful. 2016, Vicki Clark is here, and she joined me in 2016 to form the Business Alliance for Protecting the Atlantic Coast, which was basically opposing offshore drilling and seismic testing. Fortunate to say that that has wrapped up very nicely with the new administration, and I think that has been put on now a back burner for a while. Let's see now. The South Carolina Small Business Chamber has long supported issues regarding conservation, renewable energy. I just, in fact, wrapped up a Public Service Commission hearing here, and we've basically stopped Dominion Energy from implementing a new tariff that they wanted to put in place that was going to shut down rooftop solar net metering. So we were successful in stopping that. Now, having said all that, what I'm going to transition to now is a campaign that we're involved in right now. It's a national campaign, and the U.S. Green Chamber of Commerce is one of our national business organizations supporting this. It's basically addressing the fact that we're at a 40-year low in new business startups in this country. And this has been recognized bipartisanly. And research is basically being called for. We support in finding out what are the barriers to starting a small business. But we don't need a research to tell us one of the key barriers is access to capital. So we are addressing that with some recommendations that basically calling for easier access to capital for rural underserved communities, specifically for entrepreneurs of color and women. That is really where we need to develop better access to capital and more risk-taking by the federal government. So that's one of our big recommendations we have. We also are very pleased to see that the Biden administration has really picked up one of our recommendations regarding procurement at the federal level. We recommended that all procurement goals for some of our women entrepreneurs, minority entrepreneurs, veterans, should all be increased because procurement from the federal government can really help on helping small businesses. And the Biden administration has pledged that by 2025, they will increase by 50% procurement across federal government to small disadvantaged businesses. So that's one thing that we had recommended also. We also suggested that there ought to be looking at universal needs of small businesses, and the federal government ought to be leading on those. One of those is clearly family and medical leave, that most small businesses can't afford a medical and family leave policy. So the federal government should really put that together. And in fact, that is also a part of one of the Biden administration plans. So we have some other ones. I encourage you to go to reformthesba.com. I'll explain in a second why we have the SBA in there, but it's reformthesba.com. It lays it all out, framing the issue and recommendations. Essentially what we're saying is the SBA, we're not criticizing it. We're simply saying it needs to do more. It'll have bigger mission, more resources, and more authority to be the go-to agency at the federal level where you would go to get assistance across the federal government in helping small businesses develop and grow. We need that quarterback. We really don't have that now in Washington. The SBA can only do what they're allowed to do. And we're suggesting they need a bigger mission that would lead us out of this 40-year low in new business startups. So I hope I made the time frame that was given to me. And I look forward to any questions at the end of this presentation.
Thank you so much, Frank. Yes, you're well within the time frame. It's all good. I also noticed on your website while we were doing research that you recently partnered with the Green Business Bureau. I would like to just commend you on that partnership. Partnerships like that between the different green business organizations we have are so important because while we do great work, there's not a lot of us. So to see you helping form these partnerships is huge. With that, I will move on to our next speaker. who will be Christina Kelcourse from the North Florida Green Chamber of Commerce. Christina.
Thanks, Jesse. And thank you, Michelle, and all your staff for creating the coalition. It's just so cool to watch it grow and see everybody join this movement. So thank you for everything you're doing, and thank you for having me as a speaker today. I am Chris Kelcourse. I'm with the North Florida Green Chamber of Commerce. We are a Chamber of Commerce here in North Florida, and we recently launched. Yeah, thank you. We are pretty new. We launched in 2019, and we launched because we knew that this area, there were a lot of businesses in North Florida that wanted to support this growing movement of green or sustainable business, but they didn't really know how. Or they didn't have the resources or the tools or the expertise to take it to the next level. So we've built the North Florida Green Chamber as a resource for businesses to continue making their businesses green. One of the programs that we have is our Buyers Club. And I know that is what you want me to focus on today. And I'd be happy to share with everybody what this Buyers Club is. We're very, very proud of this program and this idea. It is a work in progress, so I'm going to fill you in now on what we've done so far and then what we are continuing to do to make it better. So our Buyers Club basically was a way for us to fulfill a piece of our mission. Our mission is to make it cool and convenient to be green. And convenient means easier and less, either help with profit or reduce cost, or make it easier to do this. So the Buyers Club is a way for us to ask restaurants specifically, although it could be office spaces or catering companies, to stop using single-use plastics. And we know that single-use plastics and styrofoam specifically are the cheapest option for restaurants and most vendors. And a lot of restaurants really are they're only slightly profitable. So asking them to switch a big piece of their inventory to something that's more expensive was a hard ask. So since our mission is to make it convenient, we wanted a way to make it easier for them. And we decided that we wanted to leverage volume of a larger group. So by doing that, we were able to create this Buyers Club. And the club is a way for everyone to come together and together work with one single distributor to get eco-friendly products, but that the prices of the Buyers Club would be reflected of what the purchasing was of the whole group. So if anybody knows this industry and how restaurants order, the more you order, the less expensive it is. So by ordering more, you bring the cost down. And so we were able to create this club where when the large businesses order large amounts, it actually brings the price down not only for them, but for the mom and pop pizza shop. So we were able to take, really the phase where we are at right now is we have researched different distributors and looked at a couple different things. We looked at whether or not
Christina, are you there?
Hey, I think I lost you guys for a second.
We can hear you and you're back.
Okay, all right, excellent. Sorry about that.
Okay.
Yeah, so where we are right now, what I was saying with the Buyers Club is we were able to research several different distributors and the products that they had. And we're researching the products to make sure that they're actually eco-friendly. We realized right away that the greenwashing was a real thing, and a lot of companies are offering green products that are not really green or aren't any different than the plastic cup sitting next to it. So we had to really do the research behind the scenes and make sure that the products we were picking for the Buyers Club truly were eco-friendly. And then another layer that we ran into is, what does eco-friendly actually mean? And it's different to different people. Some cities might have really robust recycling programs, and some cities have really crappy recycling programs. So somebody who's doing a really good job and has really high percents of recycling might actually find recyclable cups as an eco-friendly option because most of them are getting recycled. But in a city where things are not getting recycled or recycling rates are really, really low, then that's just a plastic cup going to the landfill. So we really looked at our city, looking at North Florida, looking at our recycling rates, and we chose products that were, on the most part, they were compostable, or something that would break back down from a plant base and not break down into microplastics. So we looked at that. We came up with a list of the top products that most restaurants are using. And again, that's going to be different for a pizza shop, from a coffee shop to a fine diner or fine dining restaurant. They use different things. So we really kind of tried to narrow down what the top products were, found a distributor that had those at an eco-friendly materials. And then we researched the average cost of styrofoam and the average cost of eco-friendly products. And we made sure that our Buyers Club was lower or competitive with the cost of the single-use plastics. So right now we're making our Buyers Club. It shows on our website that you have to be a Green Chamber member to be in the Buyers Club, but we are actually changing that right now. And anybody who wants to be in the Buyers Club can let me know. We are going to charge a fee to be in the Buyers Club, but you do not have to be a Green Chamber member to get access to our Buyers Club anymore. We're opening that up to everyone for a very small fee. One of the things that's still in the works with the Buyers Club is that, again, after extensive surveying and researching what restaurants are actually doing, we found that a lot of businesses and restaurants are getting free shipping or free logos put on their materials and cups and things like that, or they're getting rebates. So we're really trying to work with our distributor to get all those little bells and whistles and extras to make it really advantageous all around for everybody to do. So that's our Buyers Club, and you can find more information on our website. So I think that's my time. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much, Christina. The Buyers Club and all the research we've done, which is a lot, the Buyers Club is one of the largest scale, and also I think has the potential to be one of the most effective green measures taken by a Chamber of Commerce. And it shows how much we can do in this space. I also noticed, Christina, you've got a lot of sustainable initiatives. Obviously, your entire chamber is based around greening business. One of the ones I saw that I thought was really remarkable was that you offer energy coaches and sustainability coaches to businesses who are trying to take those first steps. I think that's, like you said, one of the hardest parts about becoming green as a business is knowing where to start, and having that guidance is crucial to moving forward. So I'd like to commend you on your work doing that.
I want to jump right in, if you don't mind, for a moment. I do want to share that we will be sending out the information related to the Buyers Club, because it has just opened up for people beyond the North Florida Green Chamber. This has been a project that is no small feat. I mean, they have been working on this for so long. Christina is an attorney. Her background is as an attorney and in the financial world as well. So it's something that they've done so much research, and we really want to be able to capture that and leverage it to be able to give it to everybody else. We're even working with a group in Panama that is going to potentially buy a huge bulk of these products, and order a shipping container and get it sent down to Bocas del Toro with one of our board members and partners. So it's something that we see of great value to the green movement, and we'd like, we're excited to help grow this and get the word out far. So thank you so much, Christina, for joining us.
Thank you, Michelle, as well, for that extra information. Everyone should join the Buyers Club. It helps everyone. Up next, we've got Vicki Clark from the Cape May Chamber of Commerce in New Jersey. Vicki?
Thank you so much, Jesse. And again, my thanks to you and Michelle as well for including me on this really important topic. And it's a pleasure to join the other panelists. Cape May County has a very unique and delicate ecosystem, and our tourism-driven economy is dependent on clean ocean, back bay waters, and beaches. We're very proud that 10 million people visit our area every year, but we're even just as proud of to be one of the top 10 birding hotspots on the Eastern Hemisphere and home to the horseshoe crab phenomenon every May, when thousands of red knots stop to feast on their eggs and journey back to the North Pole, and thrilled with the monarch butterfly migration every September. So we wouldn't have that if we didn't care for our environment. Our Environmental Affairs Committee is one of the most active in our chamber and has a long history of taking action to protect our environment, balanced with the opportunity to sustain our business climate. And to support that endeavor, an environmental policy was adopted in 2009 to reflect the Chamber's past, present, and future goals of sustainable business practices. And that policy states that the Chamber will pursue its mission with a practical commitment to principles of sustainability, of meeting the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs, in an effort to promote green business practices. And this includes identifying sustainable green business models and encourage members to integrate these practices in their own businesses and organizations, be a resource of knowledge and expertise of sustainable issues for our members. And we do that with webinars and forums throughout the years on topical issues. We support government policies and legislations and regulations that are consistent with green living and sustainable business practices. Continue to recognize members and organizations that achieve exemplary levels of conservation practices, and conduct our own business operations and activities, and support Cape May County's environmentally sensitive tourism industry in a manner that reflects the commitment to reduce, reuse, and recycle. So a few things that I want to share with you show how we integrate that policy throughout our organization and our programs. So first of all, for over 40 years, the Chamber has been a leader in the health of our marine industry. And first of all, that's with our opposition against offshore drilling and seismic testing. And as Frank mentioned, we were one of the founding members of the Business Alliance for the Protection of the Atlantic Coast, or BAPAC as it is known. And we have always opposed offshore drilling, seismic testing. We have a standing resolution. Anytime that issue comes up, I don't have to go to my board and say, will we take a position on this, because I can speak to a reporter, I can organize an effort, I can send out an action alert. We have a position on file. It allows us to go into immediate action. We have many partners on this issue that we work with consistently: the Jersey Shore Partnership, the Clean Action Alliance. In the state of New Jersey, we organize rallies. I'm often working with our New Jersey congressional delegation on press conferences to speak. And we are a leader in the state on this issue. And we have successfully fought back big oil. And it doesn't matter. It's not a Republican or a Democratic issue. It's about our environment and keeping oil off our beaches. And it doesn't matter if it's off the coast of Virginia or North Carolina, because oil cannot be contained in the ocean. It could end up on our beaches. So this has always been one of our issues, and we have been consistent on this position. The next issue is working with our partners in the community to recognize and reward efforts to reuse and recycle. And our Environmental Leadership Awards first started as conservation awards to recognize municipalities and businesses conserving on water or solid waste. And we, as green business practices have changed over the years, so have those awards. And, whether it was how businesses, because we're a tourism driven economy, that might have been how businesses were conserving water with, reusing towels, or they reset their thermometers to conserve energy. So thermometers changed as guests went in and out of rooms, or they started putting in rooftop gardens, and or with recycling, different initiatives. So we've changed the awards over the years. It might be LEED construction. So, and they have changed now that they are environmental leadership awards. And we do those awards to recognize and encourage everyone in the community to be environmentally conscious. And it's one of our most popular programs here in Cape May County. And as I mentioned, our Environment Committee is one of the most active with webinars and seminars and forums every year. We work with our local, county, and municipal elected officials. And, we often hold forums with our New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection. Sometimes these are the most frequently attended. We've held forums on things like the offshore wind farms. New Jersey is ready to install the largest farm in the United States here. And it's actually become a little controversial in Cape May County, which puts us in a very delicate position here as the Cape May County Chamber of Commerce. Because we have to also sustain our commercial fishing industry, which is a very large industry here for us as well. We work with our partners like the Wetlands Institute, which is a world-renowned conservation institute for our back bays. We have a great oyster farm that has, or oystering has been brought back from, a disease of about 50 years ago. So, we're very big on education with our environmental committee, and we try to, really live out our environmental policy. And with our Leadership Cape May County program that our Education Foundation hosts every year, that is a unit that is one of the most popular in our leadership class. So that's just a little bit of what we do. Again, I'm trying to stay within the time constraints. I'm very interested in the Buyers Club because New Jersey has a single-use plastics law that is statewide. Cape May County already has 4 communities, I'm sorry, that has a single-use plastics ban. And so we're already doing it in our county ahead of the statewide ban. And, we've gone through this, of putting together these vendors for the products that our businesses can use. So I'm very interested in what Christina was sharing as well. So thanks very much for the time, and I look forward to any questions I can answer as well.
Thank you so much, Vicki. I also noticed, to your point about education, that you've run events that help educate small businesses and mid-sized businesses, new businesses, on how they can get involved in the renewable energy space or in any kind of sustainability. And like I was saying to Christina, that education sometimes is really the most important thing that businesses are lacking. It's just the know-how on how they can do it, and most importantly, how they can remain profitable. So I'd like to commend you on that, and thank you very much for your speech. Our last speaker of the day is John Threadgill from the Bartlett Area Chamber of Commerce in Tennessee. John?
Well, thank you, Jesse. Appreciate that. And again, I appreciate everyone letting me participate in this program. I think what I'm going to do is give you a little history of how we got into this green initiative. Team Green Zone actually came about because of a phone call that we received from one of our larger employer members. And they called us one day and talked to my economic development guy and said, hey, what do we need to do to be green? We just got a phone call from our home office and they said we need a green policy. And so they called the Chamber of Commerce, and it's like, oh, okay, well, as a good Chamber of Commerce, your response is, hey, let us check that out and we'll get back to you. So that's a pretty standard chamber reaction. So anyway, we did a lot of research, a lot of homework to find out what would be a good program or good initiatives for our members to lower their carbon footprint, because that was kind of the thing back in about 10 years ago. Everybody's talking about carbon footprint. So what we came up with was of all the different type of initiatives that a company can pursue, the quickest way to lower your carbon footprint was through energy efficiency. And I think that still applies today. Energy efficiency is by far the quickest way to lower your carbon footprint, or to be green, really. So we came up with a program. We went out, we met with a lot of other members who were involved in energy in some form or another, whether they sold light bulbs or did HVAC or whatever. Anyway, we pulled together a team of our members, and we called this the Team Green Zone. And the whole idea of the group was to advise fellow members about what we could do or what they could do to practice good energy efficiency. So anyway, of course, at the height of all this talk about lowering your carbon footprint, a lot of companies were concerned about LEED certification and that type thing. And anyway, it's had its ups and downs, and again, it's focused more on our members, our businesses, because they have policies that they want to implement and be able to say that, hey, we're practicing good stewardship and all that. We've had some of our largest members who received the governor's stewardship, and so it's it was an effective program. Something that we've been very proud of. We've gotten a lot of notoriety across the country. But then again, it's not perfect. There is no perfect system. There is no perfect way that I know of to go green. I mean, there's all kind of alternatives out there. There's all kinds of opinions. You do something in one area and it may have an adverse effect in some other. So, and then you've got a lot of different pundits who are saying, hey, our way is the best way and all that. It can be very frustrating. It can be very confusing. And I think that's something that all of the members, all the chambers out there need to do is do your homework. Don't accept anything as fact unless you've done your homework and you feel pretty comfortable about what the information you're getting is current. To be honest with you, there seemed to be a lot more emphasis on the green initiative with our members back 4, 5, 6 years ago than there is today. I'm not sure why that is. It seemed like to me that every company should be willing to go green or want to go green. And by the way, energy efficiency saves you money. So that was the thing we were talking about. Hey, this improves your bottom line. And there were incentives out there. I mean, there was local incentives, there were state incentives, there were federal incentives. And yet, a lot of these companies, they were like, oh, no, we don't want to take advantage of that, or we don't care what, it's a little bit, it is frustrating. You bring the horse to water, you can't make them drink. You can show them how this is going to improve your bottom line, but, still it's like, well, I don't know about that. Let me get back to you. Anyway, I don't know. I'd like to know what other chambers out there, what they're facing if they're looking at the same conundrum that we're looking at is, hey, we can prove to you this is going to save you money, but then again, they don't want to do it. So anyway, that's, I didn't want to be a downer, Debbie Downer by any means, but it's a fact of life. We need to all be serious about this. We all need to encourage our members to be green, but at the same time, they're all concerned about the bottom line. And if you can show them that they can actually save money and it would be good business practice, they still sometimes won't listen. So anyway, sorry about that, folks. But anyway, I just wanted to get that out and maybe get some feedback on that. Try to cut it short for you, Jesse, because I can pontificate all day long.
Thank you so much. And I think your frustrations, I'm sure, have been felt by everyone in this room who is a part of a chamber, because as you said, at the end of the day, for a lot of businesses, what matters most is the bottom line. And what we must do is show them that bottom line does not need to be sacrificed to become more sustainable. Like you said, there are solutions out there. There's things we've talked about today, the Buyers Club. These initiatives can save businesses money. It's all about convincing them and pushing them that way. I also noticed on your website that you run a very very good chamber foundation that helps in education efforts, that helps your community, and I'd like to commend you on that as well. With that, that wraps up all of our chamber speakers for the day, but I would like to introduce a special guest speaker we have today. Glenn Hallam is an associate with the U.S. Green Chamber of Commerce. We work very closely with him. He's always at the table when we plan events like this. We work with him, and especially because he runs an event called Green Wave, which is the premier sustainability leader networking event. And he has an announcement he'd like to make regarding next month's Green Wave event. Glenn, the floor is yours.
Great, thank you, Jesse. Yeah, so as Jesse mentioned, I run a conference called Green Wave. Our purpose is to bring leaders together from diverse sectors. We have people who run sustainability in big companies, but also nonprofits and consultants and a variety of leaders from across the world increasingly, people like you all. People who have a true heart for sustainability and they're looking for ways to accelerate and build on sustainability in business specifically. So our next event is July 21 to 23, and I have your emails now. I may be actually emailing you about this after the conference. I will be inviting you to this conference. What's different about it is it's really networking. We have short presentations, and you'll see actually people from chambers around the world will be presenting on the second day of our conference. But there's short presentations, and then there's a lot of networking that goes on. And there's about a dozen opportunities to be in small groups there. So if you want to meet people, the idea is to kind of create collaborations among folks and give you a chance to meet others. It's a good place to do it. And we do waive the fee for this. And I hope that you will consider coming July 21 through 23. We meet for 2.5 hours each day. So Glenn Hallam, and I will be sending you emails.
And to really hyper focus in on the fact that this will be on the 22nd, really we'll be focusing on chambers and really having some of these deeper conversations. There's going to be several of the speakers that we have right now. I see Mauricio is on the call. He will be speaking. There's going to be several other advisory board members that have already given presentations through this webinar series, but we'll be doing a deeper dive and really looking at on the 22nd, that intersection of honestly, like what John was talking about. It's like, what is green? What is this chamber? How can we become green? How can we help our members become green? And really, amplifying that message. So I want to point that out, that it's something very, very unique, especially on the 22nd, but the whole conference, it's one of our absolute favorite conferences because we have made such incredible connections with Amazon, with sustainability directors at Harvard, you name it. Every single time we go, we make a critical new connection. So it's such a generous offer for Glenn to be putting this out to all of us here in this space. So thank you so much, Glenn.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Glenn. And thank you to all of our wonderful speakers. We're going to be shifting over to the Q&A period now. I'll relay some questions we received from the audience to all of you. But before I do that, I just want to thank you one more time for bringing in your knowledge, your expertise in this field, and bringing it into an area where it can be shared and utilized by all of us, because we can't do this alone. As Christina said, the Buyers Club is an opportunity for people to collaborate on these ideas, and I think that's what this event is all about. John, you mentioned wanting feedback, and that's why we bring you all together. That's what we hope to gain from this. So thank you once more for coming out. And with that, I'll get to the questions. Our first question is for Frank from the South Carolina Small Business Chamber. And the question is there an appetite or an interest in pushing federal procurement from small businesses, women-owned businesses, businesses owned by people of color that also meet environmental metrics?
We're having enough trouble making sure we get, just in general, the procurement to all these subgroups. I don't know that I've not heard anybody say, and we're also going to tie it to being green. So I have not heard anything like that. It's actually an interesting proposition that probably could be brought up with the Biden administration. To say, hey, how about an executive order about procurement also being tied to green businesses?
I agree. I think it is a very interesting proposition. Our next question is for Christina. Christina, are you still with us?
Yep, I'm here.
Great, thank you. The question is, let me find it real quick. The question is, for one, it's a few different questions. First of all, how much does the Buyers Club save for a company purchasing, let's say, reusable or compostable to-go containers for a restaurant? How much money could they save doing that?
So that's not a question that I can answer because I don't know how much they're paying in the first place. Every restaurant pays a different, there's multiple distributors that produce products that we'll just use anybody could use it, but I'm just going to use the word restaurant because it makes it easier to understand. Different restaurants will use different distributors. Cisco, Dade Paper, Webstron, all of these groups have similar products, but they're all different. The products cost different. So, and people order different sizes. So a coffee shop might have 3 or 4 different cup sizes, but then a pizza place might just have 1 cup size. So it's a really hard question. And one of our difficult points has been putting that into a monetary or a percent because it's just so different across the board. Larger chain restaurants order more, so they get higher rebates and end up paying less. Whereas a mom and pop pizza shop is smaller, it's local, they're ordering less, so they pay higher prices. It's also based on who your distributor is. And in some cases, and in every case, the distributors charge different amounts for different products. So Cisco might be really cheap on, birch or wood silverware, but their to-go containers are more expensive. Whereas you flip that with Dade Paper and their to-go containers are, more expensive. I don't know if I just said that, but you get the idea. Their silverware is less expensive. So there's no way to know what the percents are. We do have some averages, which is dangerous because again, they're just an average across the board of some, we pulled like 10 different examples from 10 different distributors on 10 different products. And we have an average of what styrofoam costs. And then we have an average of what the eco-friendly versions cost. And then we have the Buyers Club price. The Buyers Club price in most cases is a tad bit more expensive than styrofoam, but we are beating the average eco-friendly price. And the good news with our Buyers Club is that the more people purchase, we are able to give an extra discount. So the Buyers Club prices go down every quarter when we evaluate volume. So the more that people purchase, every quarter we get an extra discount on the existing already low prices based on how many people are ordering in the Buyers Club. I don't know if that answers the question. I don't know the exact amount of how much you would save because it depends on what you're paying.
Of course. I think that does answer the question. And the follow-up question, I think you answered this a little bit in that in your answer just now. But the question regards do you sell to larger companies? You mentioned large chain restaurants. An example, I know Jack in the Box isn't in Florida anymore, but a company like that maybe isn't considered to be super green in its past, but with a program like this has the potential to seriously cut their emissions down. Is that people you're trying to bring into the Buyers Club market?
Yeah, absolutely. I think anybody, and it's this goes down to the bottom line of our Green Chamber mission in North Florida, is that when we were originally
Christina, I think you cut out for a second.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you're back.
I'm sorry. We let anybody into the Buyers Club. If somebody wants to be eco-friendly, we're not going to say to them, oh no, you need to go get eco-friendly before we let you in. So we really open it up to anybody that's interested.
Great, thank you so much. My next question is, for everyone, just whoever would like to answer. And it relates to what Vicky was saying about some controversial opinions in the community regarding the offshore wind. Not to that directly in the sense that it's about that, but just in general. Obviously, when you're in the business environment, there is controversy. John, you mentioned it. Not everyone wants to accept these green changes, these green programs. Some people fear that will hurt their bottom line. How do you, as a Chamber of Commerce, as this representation of the business community, if you had to give any advice on how to counter these negative perceptions that businesses sometimes have regarding green initiatives, what would that advice be?
Well, I think that you have to, listen to all voices. Let them have their opportunity to speak. And then, you're a membership organization, but your board has to, if they're taking a position, endorsing a policy, they're looking out for the longevity of the business community and the local economy. If it's an environmental policy, that, what is in the best interest of the environment. And it's a long-term policy. It's not something that is a knee-jerk reaction. That's why you have a board of directors. They're not taking making a position for their business, but it's for the organization, and it is, it's looking to the future.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to add to that question?
Well, I'll jump in. There's some things that can take place as far as some companies to encourage them to be a little bit more green is for some of their larger customers to insist that they have a green policy. And for those of y'all involved in economic development, you probably know that a lot of companies now, a lot of the larger manufacturers and customers require their vendors to have ISO certifications, certain ISO certifications. So you could do the same thing with energy efficiency or resource efficiency. We have one company here in Bartlett, the largest employer. It's Japanese owned, and they are a great model for resource efficiency, not just energy efficiency, but I mean resource efficiency. I mean they have policies for all of their waste. They try to eliminate their waste to zero, and they can influence some of their vendors and that type thing. So what some chambers can do, reach out, try to find a member that is really kind of leading the pack or is taking it very, very seriously. FedEx, Bartlett is the largest suburb of Memphis, and FedEx, obviously this is their home office, and FedEx has a very strong green policy. I do not know personally whether or not they are encouraging a lot of their vendors to be a little bit more green, but I suspect they are in some ways, at least by practicing ISO standards. So anyway, that would be one way to go about it.
Great, thank you so much. If no one else has anything to add on that, I will move on to the next question. The next question is for Frank from the Small Business Chamber of South Carolina. Obviously, your chamber's focused on advocating for small and local business economies. Are there drawbacks, or have you experienced times where obviously you really want to have green initiatives, you want green procurement, all of these things, but are there times where that's been a challenge for some of your small businesses to adopt? And what does that look like in the past?
I think that really goes back to John's problem with, leading the horse to water, but you can't make them drink. I think, as you said, Jesse, we all have experienced this. We've experienced it ourselves with programs that can save our members money, whether that be sustainability or other arrangements we have. But I think the bigger problem is getting our members to understand that they in fact can want to be green and save money and attract more customers and attract employees with these policies. So I don't think it hasn't gotten big enough here, at least in South Carolina, that there's conflict going on. We're still knocking on the door, trying to get small businesses to understand that this is a serious issue, and it can benefit them if they would just simply be willing to take some steps. So that's where we are here.
Great, thank you so much. The next question is for the Cape May County Chamber and Vicky. So you alluded to this a little bit during your speech, but I was wondering if you could get a little more specific on how your advocacy for environmental regulations, such as size and catch limit on fishing, on flounder fishing, what kind of resistance does this receive from the community? And how do you respond to that resistance?
Well, we work with our members in the fishing community, and so we're working, with them, with information, with our colleagues, with our members, and trying to advocate based on the science, and for the future of the industry, and in balance with what is sustainable. We look at it from the perspective of, we have an industry that, wants to, protect the future of the industry, and we have how reliable is the data. And so, we try to, that's where we are with education. We say, what's the reliability here? Where's the data? We have, because we're a business organization, we're representing our members, and we want to be able to sustain this industry. They don't want to be out of business, and we want to protect the environment. So we're looking to how do we have reasonable compromise here? We don't want to overfish our waters, because we want we want commercial fishing to be sustainable. And so that's what we're looking for. And so, really it's a very amicable situation here. We don't really find ourselves in a controversial situation.
Oh, well, that's even better then. That's the best outcome you could have. So I've got one more question from the audience, and it relates to all of you again. And I know throughout this event today, and I know we've all experienced it before, there's been a lot of talk about frustration of how do you get your businesses to comply. And we talked about the different ways that you kind of counter this frustration. So I just wanted real quick, if everyone could just give one answer. These events are designed for a chamber audience. A lot of the people in the audience represent different chambers around the country. Some of them are former speakers, some of them might just be starting. So my question is, if you've had one thing be especially successful when it comes to convincing chambers to enact a sustainable initiative, or showing them that they can save money, one, whether it's the language you use, whether it's the way you presented it, if it's a podcast, if it's a newsletter, I just want to know if there's one piece of advice you could give to a chamber just trying to get started, what would it be on how to convince their members to go more green? And anyone can start.
Well, since we're hesitating, I think it comes down to simply persistent education. That's what it takes. I mean, just persistently getting a message out there and try to craft a message that will resonate with them. But that's it. We just have to be persistent. It's not throwing a light switch and everybody all of a sudden jumps on board. So that would be my recommendation.
Yeah, to piggyback on that, I would, one way to go about this maybe is, and we did this at one time, is to have a beta test, or a company that's willing to participate in a program for, say, for example, energy efficiency, however you want to define that, resource efficiency, the whole thing. Have someone take the lead on that and document it and let them be a testimonial. And if they can actually show savings, dollar savings, and also it boosts morale with the employees, and it just makes them feel good. And a lot of companies, they just want to be feel good, and plus they want to be able to go out to the general public and say, hey, look what we've done, and we really care about the community and the environment and all that. Get that one company that's willing to do that and practice that, and then let them be a testimonial. And that may work out, it may not. Again, as I was saying, we could go to companies, we could show them how this would improve their bottom line, and they still, would balk at it. So anyway, it is a challenge. It is frustrating. You kind of wonder, what are these guys thinking? You know, why can't they see this? But they all have their own reasons, explanations. And, you know, it's just, you got to be patient. You got to be patient, and you got to be persistent, and you got to just keep on going. Okay. So eventually, you know, as it catches on, maybe more will, you know, join the club or whatever.
I agree with both of those assessments, but I also think that, you know, when I look at us, I think, you know, we're doing this for future generations. So, you know I certainly have grandchildren that I want to do everything I can to preserve our environment for. And I think that, you know, that's certainly something that, you know, a lot of people of my generation, you know, that's a motivating factor for. I think that, you know, many people think of it in that way. But, you know, whether it's saving money or, you know, it's just the right thing to do. I mean, we have to have all those tools in our toolbox, because, you know, one of them is going to, you know, resonate with somebody, because there is no one thing.
Thank you. Very true. And with that wraps up our Q&A session. Thank you so much to all of our speakers for participating and for answering all these questions so honestly and eloquently. With that, I will move over to Michelle, who's got some closing remarks.
Well, thank you so much, Jesse, for doing such a phenomenal job moderating today. It was your first full day moderating, so congratulations. You did a really good job. And I want to thank our entire team that helped support, bring this together, and to all of our speakers. Each one of you, you come from really different backgrounds and different perspectives. John, I really like to hear sort of like, we're struggling, you know, we're still trying to, you know, figure this out. And I was really excited to hear that, because that's probably 99% of the chambers out there that are in that spot. And we don't want, as a coalition, we don't want to come across as just this group of people that we know it all and we're going to all share how to do it. And if you're not doing this, then something's wrong, because it is a challenge. Our goal as the Chambers for Sustainability Coalition is to get the words out of as far as how to inspire other people in the chamber movement to transition their chambers and to transition their businesses to go green. Chambers are all over the world. They're in every single country in the world. They've been around since 1599. We collectively as chambers have more influence that could shift the green movement in the business world more than any other out there. So you guys are actually the leaders out there. Jesse and the team have been doing research on how many chambers have started transitioning, and it's still small, you know, and we don't want it to be small. And so we want to start, and you're already in this leader position, and to have a feeling of camaraderie and family of all of us coming together. So I just want to say thank you for being here. We invite you to become a member of the coalition. It's just, you know, it's for times like this to reach out to say, hey, I want to be part of the Buyers Club. You know, we're going to be part of that Buyers Club, because we want to make sure that our members have the absolute best value that they can to go green. We don't want everybody to always have to pay more or so much more that they just say no. You know, we can't afford to do that. And especially most of us represent small to mid-sized businesses. And so when we talk about the ma and pop, you know, pizza shop that can't afford to go from styrofoam to the next, you know, more sustainable product because they can't buy in bulk, this is a pathway for us to be able to leverage our network to make it more sustainable for all and provide value to your business members. And if you have a program that you can share with all of our collective coalition to where you could make money and provide value, you know, please do share. It's all about that network and that continued sharing component that we all bring to the table. So I just want to say thank you again so much. This has been so informative. I can't wait to continue our conversations with each of you in this space, and we just wish you the best of luck in your green initiatives at your chambers of commerce. So thank you very much.
Thank you.